So in this video, we're gonna create the UI for creating our group chat. So we can click on this button and we can enter the name of the group chat. For example, I'm gonna say demo for YouTube. And I can add the users here. And as you remember from our API video, this group chat must have a minimum of 3 users, including the logged in user. So let me add, let's say Piyush, and I'm gonna add Jane, and let's create the chat. Now you can see the chat has been created, and over here you see we have this I button on which if we click on it, we can add or remove the users from the group. And note one thing, that only the admin can add or remove the users from the group. Or we can update the name of our chat, which can be done by any of the users. And also we have this leave group button over here. So this is what we're gonna make in this video. So let's get started. So I've opened our MERN Chat App folder over here. And now I'm gonna go inside the front end, inside of our components, inside of my chats. So inside of my chats, we have this button right here for creating a new group chat. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a modal for it. When we click on this, it opens up this create group chat modal. So I'm gonna wrap this inside of group chat modal. Just like this, and obviously this group chat modal doesn't exist yet. So I'm gonna go inside the miscellaneous folder and create a new file for group chat modal.js. Just like this. RAFCE. I'm gonna take the children. Obviously, since we are wrapping this, so we're gonna need the children. That is the button from there. So let me import this just like that. It has been imported. Now inside of the group chat modal, I'm gonna do the exact same thing just like we did in our previous video for creating a modal. So I'm gonna go to Chakra UI, Chakra UI modal, and modal dialog. Oh, not this. Yeah, this is the one. So first thing that we're gonna need is this use disclosure. I'm gonna keep it here, just like that. And now I'm gonna copy this whole return statement and paste it here. Let's import all of these things. You know what? I'm not gonna use the button. I'm gonna use the span. And since our button is already over here, so this button will automatically be rendered inside of it when we give the children. Now let's import the modal and everything. I'm not gonna need this lorem. I'm gonna remove that. Button is not getting imported. Let me manually import it. There we go. What else? Yep, I think it's good. Let's check it out. So first of all, I'm gonna start our server by typing npm start. And then I'm gonna open another terminal and switch to our front end, cd front end, and npm start. All right, here we go. Our app has successfully started. And now if you click on this group chat button, you can see the modal is popping up. Now let's go on and customize it according to us. So before this, I'm gonna create a few states. First one will be group chat name, which will be responsible to contain the group chat's name before we update it. Another for selected users. When we search all of the users, and it's going to contain all the selected users, so it's going to be an empty array for now. Other for search query, whatever we have inside of the search, by default is going to be empty. Our search results, whatever the search results we get back from the API. So search result, empty array, and of course a state for displaying the loading, which is going to be false. And we are also going to use our toast somewhere. So I'm gonna have use toast imported so that we don't have to import it again and again. So const toast, toast equals use toast. Now, after we create our group chat, we're gonna append it to the list of the chats that we already have. So I'm gonna take our context API state. So chat state, And inside of it, I'm gonna take out three things. First will be the user, second will be the chats, and the third will be the set chats state, which you're gonna know along the way how I'm gonna use all of these three things. I already told you how I'm gonna use both of these. So let's move forward and create our UI. So first of all, in the modal header, I'm gonna give it create group chat, and I'm gonna give it a few styles just like this. So it's gonna have font size of 35 pixels, font family of work, sans, display of flex, and justify content to be center so that the heading is on the very center. Then moving forward, inside of the modal body, first of all, I'm gonna give this modal body few initial styles, which is going to be display flex direction to be column because it's gonna be aligned from top to bottom, and align items to be center. Now inside of our body, we're gonna have a form control. So if I go back and click on over here, so we have two forms, first for chat name, other for searching the user. So I'm gonna create two forms. So to create the form, you can go ahead and read about this more in Chakra UI's documentation. I'm gonna create the form right now. So okay, why is it not getting imported? Import from where was it coming from? Chakra UI/form control. Okay. Chakra UI/form control. There we go. Form control. All right. So inside of the first form control, I'm gonna have the input tag. This is also not getting imported. Let's import this. I think I can import it directly over here. Will it work? Probably. Let's see. Is it working? Yep, it is working. So the input is gonna have a few styles and a placeholder. So the placeholder is gonna be chat name, and the margin bottom will be 3 so that it creates a space before another form control. And it's gonna have, obviously we're gonna update our set group chat name state as we write inside of it anything. So yep, there's that. Now the other state is going to be for search. So I'm gonna duplicate this simply. Now the input is going to be, I'm gonna say add users, example, few name of the users, and we're gonna give this margin bottom to 1. 1. And on change, I'm gonna say handle search, which obviously doesn't exist yet. So I'm gonna for now create an empty function. So const handle search. There we go. Now below this, as we go on and search our users, we're gonna render it below this. So I'm just gonna say for now render searched users. I'm just gonna put a comment over here. I'm gonna come back to this later. And before this, we're gonna have the list of our selected users which are selected from our search. So I'm gonna keep selected users over here, and that's pretty much it. Let's create the footer and then start working on this handle search logic. So footer will be pretty simple. I'm gonna remove this secondary action, and the color scheme over here is gonna be blue. There's not going to be any margin right. On click, I'm gonna say handle submit, which is going to be for creating the chat. In place of close, I'm gonna say create chat, and this handle submit doesn't exist yet. So I'm gonna create an empty function for this as well. Just like that. Okay, so we're done with the basic stuff. Let's go up and start creating this handle search function. So this handle search takes a query, right? So I'm gonna say query over here. And inside of it, first of all, I'm gonna set the search to be that query. Now I'm gonna check if there's something inside of the query. I mean, if there's nothing inside of the query, then I'm gonna throw the error on. I'm just gonna say return. Also, let me close this terminal. Now below this, I'm gonna put a try catch. In the try, I'm gonna simply say set the loading to true as the search starts. and I'm gonna give the configuration which we already saw in the previous video. If we want to pass the token, we say const config headers authorization bearer token. Now below this, I'm gonna make the Axios call. So const, I'm gonna destructure the data, await, and since this is an await, since we're using await, I'm gonna put async over here. And now Axios, let's import Axios. Yep, Axios is imported. Axios dot get. And so we're using the same API that we used in our previous video to build this thing right here, search users. So we're gonna use that to build this one as well. So the API was /API /user question mark, that is we're using a query, search, and the query will be search. The template string will be search. Okay, let me remove these. Where did these came from? Yeah, and we're gonna provide the config to this. Great. Now simply whatever the data that we get, we're going to set the loading to false and set the search result to this particular data, just like this. Let's console log to see if this is working or not. Also, I'm gonna give this error a toast, just like this. Error occurred, failed to load the chats, status is gonna be error, and duration is gonna be 5 seconds. You know the drill. So let's check it out. I'm gonna go here. Let's open the terminal. And I'm gonna search, let's say Piyush. Yep, we got something. We got Piyush. Okay, I think if we search further, oh, why are we only getting 3 results? What's wrong? Let's see what we're sending inside of the network request. Oh, wait a minute. I think I forgot to put the equals mark. So here it has supposed to be this thing equals to. Cool. Now it should work properly. So if I say JO, it should only give us John probably. Yes, it's giving us John Doe. Cool. So our search is working fine. Let's render it. So I'm gonna go over here, remove this render searched users. And first of all, I'm gonna check if it's loading or not. So if it's loading, question mark, then I'm just gonna display a simple loading message. You can also put a spinner over here according to you. So loading. Otherwise, I'm gonna take the search result and I'm gonna map through it. So optional chaining. Also at one time, I'm just gonna display 4 search results so that it doesn't get too long. I'm gonna display top 4 search results. So I'm gonna slice the array and I'm gonna map it. So user. Now inside of it, I'm gonna use our user list item that we had created in our previous video. If you remember, it's right over here, which is also displayed in that section of in the search of our app. So it's not getting imported. Let me manually import it. Import from // user avatar / user list item. Cool. Now this takes a few things, which is obviously a key since we are mapping this. So user._id, and it takes the user itself. So user equals user, and it takes the handle function. So over in this case, I'm going to create a function. So when we click on this, it's going to add it to our selected users array, this array, set selected users. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say handle function to be handle group, and I'm just going to provide it the users object. So this obviously doesn't exist yet. So I'm going to create a dummy function for this as well. Just like that. Now let's go and try it out. I believe this should work. So if I type P, yep, we get Piyush, P-I-Y, yep, we get the targeted search result. If I say John, awesome, Jane, great. So everything is working fine. Now next, when we click on any of these, we need to create this handle group function so that it adds them to our array of selected users. So inside of handle group, I'm gonna say it's gonna take the user object. So I'm gonna say user to add, and inside of it, it's gonna be pretty simple. I'm just gonna say if selected users already has this, so if it includes this object, then just show a toast and return it by saying user already added. But if it's not there, I'm just gonna add it to that array. So I'm gonna say set selected users, and I'm gonna I'm gonna spread all of the selected users that are already there. And now I'm gonna add this. So user to add, just like this. It's as simple as this. So let's test it out, or you know what? I'm just gonna test it out after rendering this thing. So I'm gonna take selected users and I'm gonna render them over here inside of selected users. So I'm gonna say selected users dot map, and let's take the user, and I'm gonna create a separate user badge item for it. So I'm gonna say user badge item, and this is gonna take a key, which is gonna be user dot id underscore id, and it's gonna take the user itself. So user is gonna be the u, and it's gonna take a handle function as well, which I'm gonna say handle delete, because obviously it has one delete option over here, right? If you go and add someone, see it has this delete icon. If you click on it, it gets deleted. So it's gonna be handle delete, and I'm gonna pass the user to it. So this doesn't exist yet. Let's create this. So I'm gonna create it inside of the user avatar. I don't know why I named it user avatar, but you can name it differently. So yeah, inside of it, I'm gonna say RAFCE, and this is also going to be very simple. So inside of it, I'm just gonna have a box from Chakra UI, and this box is gonna have a bunch of styles like padding horizontal of 2, padding vertical of 1, some border radius, some margin bottom, variant. So you can customize according to you. Main focus is to understand how we work on to build the logic of our app. So okay, let me take the props. First prop will be the user, another will be the handle function. Now inside of this box, I'm gonna say user dot name. So I'm gonna render the name, and then I'm gonna render the icon. I'm gonna say close button, close icon. Over here with the padding left, I'm gonna give it some padding left to create some space of 1. Let's check it out. Let's see if it's working or not. So if I go to this app, refresh this. Okay, yeah, I haven't imported it yet. So let's import this, and this handle delete, I'm gonna create a dummy function for this. I'm gonna create it over here. Okay, cool. Let's see if it works or not. I'm gonna search Piyush. Yeah, you saw the loading. If you click on it, okay, Piyush Agarwal is getting added. I think I forgot to add some styles. This is supposed to be purple. Yes. Cursor pointer. Everything looks good. Let's see. I think I need to wrap this thing inside of a box as well. Let's wrap it inside of the box. And I'm gonna give few styles to this box. It's going to be with 100%, display flex, and flex wrap to be wrap. Let's see. Okay, this is fine, but it's still not displaying the color. I don't know why. So we go back and see color scheme purple. If I say background color purple, this is weird because color scheme usually works, but okay, I'll just work with this. So color, and then I'll give the text color to white. Okay, this is working, so cool. Maybe it's some error for me. You just check into your app as well. Anyway, so let's create this. If we click on this cross button, let's create the delete functionality for this. So it's also going to be pretty simple. So I'm gonna go, so we are supplying the user object to this, so I'm gonna go over here and simply we're gonna filter everything. So I'm just gonna say deleted user, or the user to be deleted, whatever you want to name it. So I'm just gonna say set selected users, and inside of it I'm gonna filter out of the selected users dot filter selected to be selected dot underscore id. If it's not equal to delete the user to be deleted's id underscore id, then we're gonna delete it. What did I do wrong? Okay, this looks good. Let's see if it works or not. If I click on this, okay, something went wrong. Okay, selected users, it's gonna be cell.id. Okay, let's see. Yep, it's getting deleted. Awesome. So this is what we needed. Cool. Now the only thing that's left is to submit to create this chat, right? So we gave the chat name, we gave all of the users. Now we click on create chat and create the actual chat. So go on and create the handle submit functionality. So handle submit is going to be an async function, obviously, since we're going to make an asynchronous API call inside of this. So first of all, I'm going to check if the group chat name is empty or the selected users are empty. Then I'm just going to say, please fill all the fields, and I'm going to say it inside of a toast. Please fill all the fields. Okay. Now below this, I'm going to create a try catch. And inside the try catch, I'm gonna make our API call. So first of all, I'm gonna have the configs. So I'm just gonna take the config from here. Just like that. Below this, I'm gonna make the API call. So const data equals await axios dot post. It's gonna be a post request. And what was the API? It was /API /user /group. This was the API to create a group. And what are all the things that it takes? If you remember, it takes a name, which is going to be group chat name, and it takes the users array. So if you remember, I demonstrated it. How is it going to take the users array? It's going to take that in the stringify format. So I'm going to say selected users dot map. I'm going to give all of the users to this u dot underscore id, just like this. I'm going to stringify this. Now let's take this data. Also, we need to give this config. Okay. Now over here, I'm going to say set chats. First of all, so this chat is created now. So I'm going to add it to the list of our chats. So set chats data comma chats. So we're adding this data before spreading these chats. It's because we want to add it to the very top of our chats when this is created. And after this, I'm gonna close the modal. So I'm gonna call on close. And after this, I'm gonna also display a toast by saying new group chat created, and the status will be success. Cool. Now let's give this some error handling toast, just like that. And I think we're good to go. Let's test it out. So let's put a chat name, my first group. Let's click on create chat, and something went wrong. Object are not valid as React child. Okay, if you mean to render so /API / okay, it was /chat, not /users. My bad. Now it should work. Let's clear this up and create chat. There we go. The chat has been created, and you can see over here our first group has been added to this list. Awesome. Let's move forward and create this chat box interface so that we can create this I button as well. Awesome. So I'm gonna close all of this stuff, and I'm gonna go inside of our chatbox.js. And inside of here, first of all, I'm gonna import our chat state from our context API. So import /context /chat provider chat state. Okay. I'm gonna need the selected chat. because that will be needed inside of this, right? Whenever a chat is selected, that is going to be needed inside of over here. So selected chat. Cool. Now, instead of these divs, I'm gonna import the box from Chakra UI. Import from Chakra UI / React. Import the box. Oops. I'm gonna import it like this. I hope I didn't break anything. Cool. Everything looks good up until this point. Now inside of this, I'm gonna have a component for our single chat. So this is just going to be a wrapper component, the chat box. The single chat is going to be inside of this. So I'm just gonna say single chat for now. Chat. And I'm gonna give this a few styles. So first of all, if you remember with this component, when we make the screen smaller, what happens with this is, okay, right now the chat is selected. That's why it's getting disappeared. So if we make this, if the chat is not selected, we make this smaller. You can see it becomes 100%. So this is what we're going to do with this. Whenever the chat is not selected, I'm just gonna make it disappear. And when the chat is selected, this will appear and this will get disappeared. So I'm gonna simply say that display is going to be in the base screens. If the chat is selected, it's going to be flex. Otherwise, it's going to be none. And in the medium and above screen, it's always going to be flex. I'm gonna give some more styles to this. Also, the width is going to be 100% as well. So let me give this. Yeah. So these are a few generic styles, and the width in the base is going to be 100%, and the medium is going to be 68%, and some border radius and border width as well. So let's see. Let's see how that look. So you see, yep. Single chat is appearing over here, but when I make screen smaller and click on any of the chat, you see single chat begins to appear over here. Let's go and build it further. So now inside of it, I'm gonna have this single chat component. So I'm gonna create a single chat, single chat component. And you know what, inside of this single chat, since we're gonna have this functionality when we click on this and when we leave the group and everything. So when we leave the group, obviously this list has to be updated somehow, right? So I'm gonna create a parent state over here in my chat. So you can also create this state inside of context, but I decided to create, no, not in my chat, I mean in the chat page, sorry. So I'm gonna create a state which is gonna be called fetch again. It's gonna be false by default. And I'm gonna take both of this fetch again and set fetch again, and I'm gonna supply it to our chat box, also to my chats. So this is gonna be used. Okay, let me just add it over here real quick. So if I go inside of my chats, I'm gonna take the fetch chat. So I'm just gonna take the fetch chats. Why am I sending this as well? This is not needed over here. So I'm just gonna need this fetch chats. So fetch chats. Whenever this fetch chats changes, it's gonna fetch all of the chats again. So I'm just gonna simply add it over here. So whenever this changes, this use effect runs again, it's gonna fetch this chats once again. So this is the logic behind this. Now inside the chat box, we're sending fetch again and set fetch again. So I'm gonna receive them over here, just like this. And I'm gonna take both of those and I'm going to pass it to our single chat as well, because obviously all of the actions will be done inside of the single chat. So also we haven't created single chat yet. So let's create this now. Inside the components, I'm going to create a new file, singlechat.js, RFCE. I'm going to say single chat, and it's gonna have fetch chats and fetch again and set fetch again. So both of these. Great. Now inside of this component, I'm gonna need a few things as well, such as from our context. So I'm gonna need the user, const user, and I'm gonna need the selected chat, and I'm gonna need the set selected chat. So first thing first, I'm gonna check if any chat is selected, then display the chat, otherwise display this thing. So if we refresh this, see, any chat is none of the chats is selected, so it's just displaying click on a user to start chatting. But if a chat is selected, it displays this interface. So I'm gonna add this check over here. So single chat is not defined. Okay, let's define this. I'm gonna import it. Now the error should go away. Yep, error. What? Refresh this. Okay, fine. Now inside of here, let's make it fragments. And inside of it, I'm gonna say if the selected chats is true, then do something else. Let's add the empty fragments for now. But if it's false, then what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna quickly write it out. It's simple. Click on a user to start chatting. So let me import this text and the box. Yep. So let's see, this should work for us. Yep, it's working. Click on a user to start chatting. So our app is beginning to take shape. You see how beautiful this looks. So if I select on it, see, it's gone. Now inside of over here, I'm gonna first say text. So what is this text for? It's for this heading, demo for you to, or whatever the name of our chat is. Also, when we make this screen smaller, you notice one thing. Yep, we have this arrow button over here as well. So we have to add this arrow button too. So let me first give this chat, this text some styling. So I'm gonna give this some responsive stylings, just like this. Font size on the base, that is in the smaller screen, is going to be 28 pixels, but in the larger screen, it's going to be 30 pixels. Some padding, width, font family, display flex, justify content is going to be on the base screens, is going to be space between, because due to this thing, we're going to need space between, but in the larger screen, it's not going to be there. And the align items to be the center. Now, inside of this, I'm going to have the icon button. And this is only going to be displayed when the display is small. That is, in the base, it's going to be flex. Otherwise, it's going to be none. So I'm going to import this and this arrow button icon as well. So, okay, let me manually import it. Import arrow button icon from Chakra UI/icons. Just like this. Let's see if it's working or not. If I go here and make the screen smaller, if I select any chat, yep, you see the icon begins to appear over here. And when we click on it, the set selected chats become empty. So you see, when you click on it, set selected chat becomes empty and we go back over there. Cool. Now below this, I'm going to display the text, obviously. So this is going to be having the similar logic, just like what we used to display the names over here. We were using the get sender function inside of the config. So let me show you again if you don't remember. So I'm gonna say if it's not a group chat. So if the selected chat dot is group chat. If it's not a group chat, then do something. But if it's a group chat, then selected chat dot chat name dot to uppercase, and also we're going to display that icon, right, to update the group chat modal. So I'm going to have the update group chat modal over here. So obviously this doesn't exist here, so I'm going to comment it out for now. Now inside of over here, so first of all, let's see if it's working or not. So if you click on a group chat, yep, it's displaying the name of the group. For this it won't display because we haven't added the logic yet. So over here I need to add two things. So if we go back, you can see if you click on a one-on-one chat, we have this name of the chat and this profile model icon. You see? So this is what we're going to add over here. So first thing will be get sender. Okay, this is not getting imported. Let me manually import it. Side of config / chat logics. Cool. Now this takes two things, our logged in user and the list of the selected chat dot users. Let's see, this should work. Yep, it's working. Cool. Now let's create, so our profile model is obviously already there. So I'm just gonna import this profile model. So let me manually import it now. It was inside of miscellaneous / profile model, and this takes the user whose profile we are supposed to display. So that profile is this get sender. I'm gonna copy it, user to be this. Let's see. Yep, let's click on it. Okay. Oh wait, my bad. So this is not going to be this logic. I forgot to create another logic for it. So I'm going to create a similar logic, but instead of just returning the name, it's going to return the complete user object. So I'm just going to call it get sender full. And I'm going to import it from our config, and obviously this doesn't exist yet. So I'm going to go and create this. So this is going to be exactly the same, but it's just going to remove this name from here. Okay, wait a minute. So it was supposed to be get sender full. Yeah, let's see if this works or not. Let's click on it's loading. I think I need to put a loading sign over here as well. So if you click on this, yep, Jane Doe, John Doe. Awesome. Now let's create the add and remove user from the group logic over here. But before this, let me create the simple UI over here. So I'm just gonna create a simple box, and then for the other thing we're gonna worry about later in the further videos. So a simple box, and this box I'm gonna say messages here. All the messages are gonna be here, and I'm gonna give some generic styles to this thing. Some display flex direction column, some justify content flex. So this is gonna have two things, all of the messages and the sending message. That is the input bar where we're gonna type the message, this thing. So I'm not gonna get inside of that for now in this video. So padding is gonna be 3, some background color, width, height, some border radius, and overflow Y. So let's see. This should, yep, it has taken its shape, but we're gonna build this obviously in the future videos. So now let's create this thing, this particular thing. Okay, so I'm gonna go inside of miscellaneous and get a new file for update group chat modal.js, RAFCE. It takes a few things, fetch again and set fetch again. So now in here I'm just gonna have the usual use disclosure. So I'm gonna go to the browser. So for our modal, what do we use? This thing, use disclosure, paste it here, and I'm gonna import whole of our modal as well, just like that. Instead of this button, I'm gonna have the I button. So icon button, and this is gonna be on click open. Yeah, that's fine. It's gonna have an icon, and display is gonna be flex in the base. Okay, so let's remove this. It's gonna be self-closing, and import this view icon as well. Cool. Now let me import all of these things. Don't need this. Footer, button. I think I'm gonna need this. Yep, cool. Let's see, let's find out. Okay, we have to import this as well. So profile, no, in the single chat over here. Let's import this. Okay, there we go. Yep, modal is over here. Cool, let's build this inside of update group chat modal. I'm gonna say first of all it is centered, and inside of modal header I'm gonna just say the name of the chat. So okay, we need all of these things from our chat state. So I'm gonna need selected chat, set selected chat, and the user. So let me import this just like that. Also let me create the states as well beforehand. Use state group chat name. So it's gonna be very similar to our create group chat modal. It's gonna have all of the similar states. So let me create it quickly. Yep, just like that for our search results, and our loading. And I'm gonna have one more. So since we're gonna we can also update one single group chat name, so we're gonna have a separate loading for this thing. So rename loading. I'm gonna name this false. Okay, cool. And also let's import our use toast as well. Const toast. Now over here I'm gonna say selected chat dot chat name. Now let's see, let's go back. Since this chat is selected, if you click on this, first group is displayed. Cool. Let's give this some styles. Yep, looks good. Below this, inside of the modal body, we're gonna have a box inside of which I'm gonna render all of the users that are inside of currently this group, which are already inside of this group, right? So let me import this Chakra UI / React. Okay, so I'm gonna build this. Okay, I'll build this right away. So selected chat dot users dot map. I'm gonna map all of the users that are currently inside of over here. So it's gonna be simple, similar to this thing. I'm gonna go here, group chat model. So yeah, this thing right here. So I'm gonna take this user badge item. So it's also going to have an handle delete or handle remove, whatever you wanna call it. So I'm just gonna call it handle remove to remove the user. Okay, let's import this dot slash user avatar / user list item. Handle remove doesn't exist yet, so I'm gonna create an empty function for this. So const. Cool. Let's see if it's any better. Okay, it's appearing. Oh, okay. I need to take the user badge item, not this thing. Yeah, it's user badge item, but it is user badge item. What did I import? Oh, okay, my bad. Yeah, user badge item file. Now it should be good. Yeah, it's good. So I need to give just some parent styles over here, just like that. And now it should be good. Yeah, cool. So these three are inside of this group. So since I'm logged in with the guest user, I believe. Yeah, guest user. So guest user is also in this list. Now below this, simply we're gonna have two form controls. So let me add the first form control. So first form control is gonna be for renaming the group. So below the box, I'm gonna have this form control with the input. Let me import this form control and input. Okay, now is loading is gonna be rename loading for this button. So what's happening over here? Okay, rename loading, L will be small, and on click handle rename. So let me explain this first of all. So this is a form control just like normally, and we have an input. So we're updating this set group chat name state that we created, and it's going to be display flex so that it comes on one single line. We're gonna have the button for updating, and on click we're gonna handle rename, which doesn't exist yet. So I'm gonna create an empty function for now. Let's see how that looks. Okay, that's looking good. Now below this, what do we have? We have add users to group. Cool, let's create that. For that as well, I'm gonna have a form control. It's just gonna be similar to what we had in our create group chat model. Oops, what did I do? Yeah, so handle search doesn't exist yet again. So I'm gonna create a empty function and placeholder add user to group, and just a simple form control. Now below this, I'm gonna render all of the searched users. So you know what, let's first create the functionality for handle rename, but before that let me create the modal footer as well. So in place of this, I'm just gonna paste the code. So it's just gonna have a button of leave group, color scheme is gonna be red, and on click it's gonna call handle remove. I'm gonna pass the user as an object. So I'm gonna create this later obviously, since right now it's empty. So let's see. Yep, this has taken the shape as we wanted it to take the shape. So let's create the first this handle rename functionality. So over here, yep, it's gonna be an async function. And inside of it, first of all, I'm gonna check if there's nothing inside of group chat name, then simply return. Otherwise, do try catch. And I'm gonna set the rename loading to true. And I'm gonna have the config with our bearer token. So just like that. And then we're gonna make the Axios call. So const data. Oops. Destructure the data. And await Axios dot put. So if you remember, this was a put request. We are updating object. That's why we're using a put request. Okay, Axios is not importing. Import Axios from Axios. Cool. Yeah. So what was the API request? So it was /API /chat/rename. And it's gonna take two things. First of all, the chat ID. So the chat ID will be the selected chat dot underscore ID. And the second thing was the chat name, which we are setting. So what we're setting it, this group chat name. So I'm gonna say chat name to be group chat name. And the third thing is gonna be the config itself. Cool. Now I'm gonna go down and update it by saying set selected chat to be the data, which is this data. So obviously this chat was selected, so I've updated it with the new data that will be returned with the new name. Set fetch again, so I'm obviously fetching all of the chats again so that the list of the chat get updated with the name of this user, the name of the chat. And then we're gonna set the loading to false, self-explanatory. And then we're gonna just throw the error over here and set rename loading set rename loading to false. And below this, I'm gonna put the set group chat name back to empty. So I think this should work. Let's find out. Go back and I'm gonna say updated group. Click on update. Updated group. Yep, awesome. This has updated this successfully. Cool, let's create this functionality, add user to group and remove user from the group. First of all, let me add the searching. So when we search it and the user's list is rendered below this. So the handle search logic will be exactly the same as we built it inside of our group chat model. So I'm gonna bring that logic in. Let me minimize this for now. Yeah, handle search. I'm gonna paste it over here, just like this. Set search. We're gonna set if query has something or not. Then we're gonna return it. Then inside the try catch, we're searching the user and we're populating the set search results. And you know the drill. Now let's render all of these below over here. First of all, we're gonna check if it's loading. Then we're gonna display loading, or let's display a spinner this time, just like this. Otherwise, we're gonna display user list item. So this is exactly the same. Again, I'm saying this is exactly the same as that was in the group chat model. So don't think that I'm copying pasting the code. Nope. So let me import this as well first. Spinner. Also, we're gonna have this logic to handle add the user. So I'm gonna create a empty function for this. I'm just gonna create empty function over here with the handle remove. So handle add user. Okay, now we have two things remaining. We have to add the user and we have to remove the user from our group. So let's see. Okay, user list. Okay, we haven't imported it. Oops, I imported it from here. Nope. So along with this will be user. Oops. User list. User list item. I think this is what it is. Yep. Let's see. If I search. Okay, we have a spinner over here. Why is the API call taking time? Okay, never mind. So this is working as we can see. Now, first of all, the handle add user. So if we go inside of here and handle add user, I'm gonna add the user. So let me minimize this logic as well. This is going to be an async function. And since we are sending a user object from there, if you didn't notice, so you're sending the user object over here. So we're gonna receive the user object inside of this. I'm gonna say user 1. First of all, here I'm gonna check if in the list of selected user, this user is already there. So I'm gonna say user is already in the group. Selected chat.users.find if it's already in this. So we're gonna throw that user already in the group. Then we're gonna check if this user is admin or not. So I'm gonna say if selected chat.groupAdmin.id matches the current user's ID, only then we're gonna say only admins can add some. So this is the user which is logged in user, right? So I'm gonna say if it matches the logged in user's ID. So that's why I gave this user once, because this would have overtaken or shadowed this variable. Okay, now below this, I'm gonna say try catch. And first thing that I'm gonna do is set the loading to true. Then I'm gonna give this headers of bearer token and make the API call below this. Data equals await axios dot put. What was the API? API slash chat slash group add. Oops, add. And then we're gonna give it an object. This object will be the chat ID and the user ID. So the chat ID will be a selected chat.id and the user ID will be the user that we want to add to our group. So user1.id underscore ID, I mean. And I'm gonna provide this the config. Now after this, I'm gonna say set selected chat and I'm gonna update it again with the provided data, and we're gonna fetch the chats again so that all the chats get fetched again, and set loading to false. Cool. Let's do the catch. We're gonna throw any error in the catch. All right, so there is the way to add our user. Now to remove our user, it's gonna be similar way. So I'm just gonna quickly write it out. So inside of our and remove, I'm gonna take a sync function and user 1. Similar, it's gonna be similar to that. So first of all, I'm gonna check if group admin's ID doesn't match the user, and the user who is logged in doesn't match the user who is trying to remove. So we're gonna throw the error. Only admin can remove someone, and then we're gonna put a try catch, which is gonna be obviously similar to what we just did above. So yeah, let me explain. So inside the try, I'm setting the loading to true. I'm having a config, I'm making a request, so this is also a put, but it's a group remove. I'm giving it chat ID and the user ID and the config. Now after this, notice over here. So if the group remove, if the user has removed itself, so the user who is logged in, if he has removed himself or he has left the group, then what we're gonna do? We're gonna make set selected chat as empty, because obviously we don't want the user to see that chat anymore because he has left the group, right? So then we're gonna say set selected chat as empty, and we're gonna fetch all the chats again. So that is what we're going to do, and I believe we are good to go. Let's find out if it's working or not. So I'm gonna add this user to the group, and you can see the user has been added. I'm gonna refresh the page and check now. Yep, user has been added. Let's try to remove the user. Yep, user has been removed as well. Let's try to leave the group and see if it works or not. Leave group. Yep, you see the chat selected was gone and it's gone from the list as well. So awesome, we have successfully created a whole of our UI for our group chat creation, adding the user and removing the user from our group. Now in our next video, we're gonna create the API for sending the message. Yes, that's right. We're gonna create the API for sending the one-on-one message or inside of a group chat. So stay tuned for that. And if you're not yet following this playlist, click the link in the description to access the complete playlist, and also subscribe to the channel for more such awesome tutorial. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.